Hey, I'm Santigold, and I'm about to launch my new podcast.
Santi got a podcast.
I'm super excited to be on your podcast, Santi. I'm not going to lie.
You flexing from the beginning. Oh, my God.
It's called Noble Champions.
This was a really great outlet for me. I talked about things I've never talked about externally.
I love to hear that. That's so inspiring. Can I cuss on this podcast?
Part of my idea for this podcast was based on a quote by the artist Kandinsky. He said that periods during which art has no noble champions are times of retrogression, saying basically that if we don't defend the power of human creative imagination, we're going to go backwards as a society. So I wanted to find some of those champions and get their take on how we can push culture forward. And that's how this podcast was born. It's like a modern-day salon where I sit down with some of today's leading artists, authors, activists, and progressive thinkers who stand up, stick up, and speak up for important causes. Like putting a spotlight on the impact of intergenerational trauma.
Something happened and continues to happen to Black people. Black people do not experience post-traumatic stress disorder. You know what we experience? Pervasive and persistent traumatic stress disorder. This is not post.
Yeah, it's not something from the past. It's persistent.
Right now.
Or defending Black musicians' freedom of expression.
I have no choice but to be myself, and whatever I make is going to be considered Black art by me. Whatever music I make is going to be considered Black music by me. Whatever any Black person makes can be considered Black.
Because it is.
It is.
These are candid roundtable conversations where ideas and experiences are exchanged, like what it's like to be a mother and a creative.
What happens is this panic of like, I don't look like I'm doing this right. And yet maybe you were just at work running shit, doing incredible things, and yet you have failed now because you're 10 minutes late for pickup.
Or when you just completely forget to pick up the kid.
Yes.
When you just don't show up.
You don't show up. And you know what? They're fine.
Through these meetings of the minds, we try to make some sense out of our world.
I'm not mature all the time. I need help too. Listen, if you give custodianship of your life over to the metaverse or whatever, but that's not my fault. I'm not out here trying to save them. I'm not trying to drown you, but listen, I am not gonna reach down so far that I end up in the sinkhole with y'all. No haps, bruh. I'm sorry, that's not how that go.
Noble Champions is a public invitation to intimate, vulnerable, and actually really fun and uplifting gatherings.
Wait, can I ask a question? Ange, are you in a bar right now?
It's our house. It's books and booze, so it's a balance.
Woo! I got cancelled on Twitter. Twitter went at me.
I mean, wow. I mean, that's such an interesting perspective. We're done the podcast.
Oh no, there's so much more.
For conversations that feed your soul and expand your mind, subscribe to Noble Champions wherever you get your podcast. Coming this October.